Hi, it's Nicole Banks with Nicole's Business Notebook, where I'm bringing together power players throughout the valley so that we can learn what they're doing, how they're helping people, and how we can do better business together. This week, I have Aldo Ocampo on the podcast. He's doing a lot of great things here in the valley. Aldo, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Nicole. Appreciate the time and the space.
100%. So, for those that don't know, you are with AO Pathway. What is that company? What do they do? Let's start there.
Well, AO Pathway was created last year, 2024, and it's an advisory group. So what I do is I have consultants that work on 1099s, right? And what we do is we focus on supporting small business owners anywhere between 300K to 3 million scale and grow their businesses. So it's very specific to business. It's very specific to small business, right? Where we want to provide services of education, value, resources, and a platform, right, for them to network and grow their business, right, and understand, even from a consulting aspect, also the coaching aspect on a personal level, where we talk one-on-one and how that how their personality, how they look at running the business, who they are, how it truly reflects how they perform and how everyone else sees them, right? So AO Pathway was born to assist small business owners in scaling and growing and structuring and aligning their vision and their business so that they could not just work day to day but create legacy.
I love that. Really powerful stuff. So, AO Pathway, you started in 2023. Obviously, you have some experience before that. So, what made you want to start this business?
Yeah, so I'm a builder by nature. I grew up building in residential, digging trenches, running electrical, putting up sheetrock, framing, cement, masonry, cabinetry, trimming, you name it.
Oh, wow.
I didn't play a lot of games. I was out building, so that's how that was my relationship with my father. So all I know is how to build, right? And so that has been part of my life up until today. I still help large commercial construction companies in the nation. Right now, I work for the second largest firm in Arizona, ninth largest in the United States. And so I figured, if I'm helping these mega corporations grow and scale their businesses, why can't I do that to support my direct ecosystem, right? So I created what I call the AO Pathway 4-step formula, and I condense SOPs into manageable steps so that I can integrate them into existing companies, like such as the ones I help and support nowadays.
That's amazing. I love the builder, sort of concept, and actually putting your hands in there, getting elbow to elbow, doing the hard work, and at the end seeing the results. And so I can see how in the business coaching consulting way, there's a lot of alignment there, even though it's a completely different industry. So what made you want to take, your construction experience and put it into, this business ecosystem? It seems like an unusual direction.
Yes. So when I was young, I had my own residential business, and fortunately, I didn't have the mentorship. I didn't have anyone I can really lean on and reach out to, right? And unfortunately, this is where my age is going to show, but there was no internet, not to today's capacity, right? So I would still
Yep.
go to Home Depot and pull out or buy books, the 1, 2, 3 step books, those orange, yellow, blue books,
Mhm.
So um, long story short, I ended up failing in that business, lost the vehicle, didn't get the right licenses. So as I continued growing in that career, I realized, you know what, maybe I can help others not make the same mistakes I made or lose out on opportunities that I wasn't able to take based on the inability to have that mentorship, to have that person, that subject matter expert there side by side to assist them in that process, right? So that's really where my mentality came from. If there's any way I can help and support others, why not? I do it for large corporations. Why not help the people that I see every day that help support the society that we live in and grow together?
I love that. For me, that experience of losing the business and having to come back stronger and that, resilience is definitely a great teacher when it comes to business and doing things right. So, what are some of the things that you learned from that?
I learned to not be shy and ask for help.
Love it.
So that's the biggest thing. And I that's a personal aspect of me and how I grew up, right? I want to correlate in that, and I want to merge the fact that being Hispanic as well, we tend to think that we can throw it all on our shoulders,
Hmm.
shoulder it all, and just figure it out. And unfortunately, that didn't work for me,
Yeah,
and I see it not working for many others, right? So that's why we need to change that aspect, that way of thinking that, we can do it, we'll figure it out, as opposed to, what, let me see who I can reach out to, learn, get an education, and truly understand, so that maybe I can implement it to other aspects of my business.
I
Uh,
love that. Yeah, my man's Hispanic, so I kind of feel that through him, and he can figure it out, and that whole thing. So, I think that's a great cultural, way of thinking, and really looking at the ways that that can be made better, and doing that and living that life, and making sure now that maybe didn't have that help then, but you can be that help now to others. I think is really empowering and shows how you've grown throughout this experience. So, do you only work with service based organizations in the construction world, or do you work with any company? Like, who's your target client?
so I work with anybody that's willing to invest in themselves, anyone that's willing to take their business to the next level or to grow personally. So yes, I operate and I help and support. It doesn't matter what the background, what the industry is. Um, but my niche and my focus is specifically in construction,
Okay,
commercial construction, and I'm really focusing on the Hispanic blue collar owner operators.
I love that. So, you mentioned that you have some contractors that are consultants underneath you, the 1099. Is that all of their specialties? Do you kind of bring in experts that work with under other industries, or are you very targeted?
Yeah, so I'm very strategic and targeted when it comes to that, right? So the 1099s I have with me, they're either bookkeepers, CPAs, they're insurance agents, um, HR. So we offer fractional services there, and that's to help support the owner operators, right? In many cases, you go to support them, you go to help them, and you open up their books. The first thing you do, and you get to see the reality, right? And then it
Right.
all just snowballs. So we try to make sure that we have SMEs to inject them in there and support their growth and organization, right? Specifically in what they need when it comes to their business. So again, if it's the numbers, if it's taxes, if it's marketing, if it's business development, and how to streamline their SOPs, is it HR as they're growing, they're scaling, they're hiring. So a little bit of everything, and so that's what AO Pathway, Awakened Opportunities Pathway, provides. So not every owner operator needs every aspect of the service, so we tailor it to what their needs are.
I love that customization and that you've brought in other experts. I mean, I've done some consulting in the construction side of things, and you're right. There's so many needs that you're not really sure until you open their books. You start to have those conversations about how they can actually be helped. And, obviously there's an overarching, coaching and that whole bit, but the details are really important. And especially with construction, there's a lot of nuance and a lot of details that aren't in other industries. I think that having those experts that are familiar with the industry, and the target audience and who you guys are working with can make that a really powerful partner. So, what made you want to kind of have this whole, full picture support for construction, commercial construction, and the Hispanic business owners?
So when I was going to launch my business this a while back, initially I was thinking about becoming just a life coach.
Mm.
Simple, keep it easy, simple life coach. And I was going to specifically brand myself as a hypnotherapist.
Oh,
I'm a
wow.
certified hypnotherapist, so I practice that. And so that's where I was going to go, right? I was thinking, hey, I'm going to help people. This is my path. Uh, but as we grow and we're seeking to develop ourselves constantly, we search for mentors, right? We search
Hmm.
for coaching. And when you're trying to truly expand who you are, what you are, because everything else transcends from that, if you focus on yourself and what you need to work on, you get to see, you start peeling back that onion, you start understanding, okay, maybe I should focus here, maybe I should focus there. And part of that was, again, going back to seeking help and being vulnerable enough to say, hey, I need support here. And I reached out and I went to this networking group, and everything got structured there. And so it's a big shout out to the Arizona Brotherhood and Travis
Mm,
Brady
yep.
specifically, because he kind of pulled me in. He's like, hey, man, you should probably focus. You got a background in construction. You speak English and Spanish. You're a veteran. You can speak to these people. Why don't you focus on that? And I'll have to admit, I wasn't paying attention the first 2 3 months, but I did. We had a follow conversation again. I finally listened to my mentor and I said, hey, you know what? That's a great idea. It does make sense. I know this. It's what I do. And so that's how it was born. I just said, hey, you know what? I can relate to my people. I can relate to this focus, this specific audience, and it has significantly exploded. I mean, tremendously. So I went from me trying to pull people into these networking um, sessions or bring them out so they can learn and grow their own businesses, but they would not do it. And they said, if you do it, Aldo, we'll follow you. So that's how Mano Hands of the Valley was born. And now we put up events, we put together workshops, and contractors are showing up, business owners are showing up, and we have full-fledged momentum.
I love that. So first off, thank you for your service. As a veteran, that impact obviously transcends all portions of your life, and that shared experience, I'm sure, is very powerful as a connection when it comes to talking with prospective clients and partners. So first off, thank you. And then the next thing I'll say is, Travis and Dom of Arizona Brotherhood are fantastic. And, for men who are looking for structure, understanding, camaraderie, I can't say, enough good things about what they're doing. They just had Brand X. They have some other events throughout the year. Their Arizona Brotherhood, they have their monthly events. So on Aldo's video, I'll put all the details so you can, make sure that you can attend and be part of that if that's the line. Women are invited.
Yes.
So it's not just a men's group. But that's obviously kind of where they started. And the cool thing about the Arizona Brotherhood is that Travis opens up his home, and for the networking events, it's not just, hey, let's show up to a bar and have a drink. This is opened. Um, you know, this is my dog. This is my kid. I mean, unfortunately the dog is no longer. But you know what I mean. It is that sort of openness, I think, that leads to a lot of really great conversations. And Travis is a marketing and branding powerhouse. So got to shout out the mentors, there that help us to propel forward. So Mano a Mano, let's talk a little bit more about that. So how did you start that?
Yeah. So it was a nudge from a mentor, Travis, and eventually, after a few months, I listened to him. We sat down, and we strategize on the future, and so it really got me to get structured and get some clarity there. As mentioned, I know construction, I know structure, I have military background, I've been doing this for a long time, and I speak Spanish. So how can we do that? And Travis said, hey, create a community. So
Mm-hmm.
Mano Hands of the Valley, which is hand in hand, we work together to move forward. And so I highlight and I provide these owner operators with the platform for exposure, events, marketing events, networking events, additional education, business education, marketing, you name it. But that's how it was born. It was a little nudge to say, hey man, you got all this information. Why don't you support your community and create a community to support the people that had those same challenges? And so it got me thinking. I said, hey, a lot of the stuff that I couldn't do before. A lot of stuff I wish I had done or I wish I would have reached out to. Now's the time. And so that's how that was born. I said, okay, there's something there and I can really do it. And you never know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. You just got to go out and do it. And that's one thing I do want to tell anybody that's out there listening. Don't wait for a perfect time. That's never going to come. Just go out and do it. And that's exactly what happened. And so now we went for 2 3 members in the community to over 30. We're hosting our end of year event here at Moon Valley Country Club with PDG Construction and Los Plumbers AZ. And it's going to be fun filled networking event where again we're going to be putting contractors together in the same room so they can collaborate and they can grow their businesses. But that's the whole point of Mano a Mano. I want to give them a platform so they can feel comfortable in a good space where they speak to people that speak their same language, have the same challenges, and understand how they can grow together. Because at the end of the day, we all make an impact here wherever it is that you live in the nation. We're talking about Phoenix, Arizona specifically, and construction specifically. There's trillions of dollars pouring in nationwide, hundreds of millions of dollars pouring into Arizona. So there's a lot of opportunity, and we had to position everybody in the valley so that they're able to move forward and take a little bit of that, because it's going to only affect us all positively moving forward. So that's really the focus. Everything that's coming down the pipeline, we need to make sure that we take advantage here in the valley.
I think that's great. Really building a community is something that, myself, I moved to the Arizona area 4 years ago, and I literally knew one person in the valley. And now I have networking groups and do all these amazing things and, all of that. But it's about putting yourself out there and being called and, leaning into leadership. So, for you, what have you learned about Mano a Mano and when it comes to Aldo and that, presence and being the leader and being called? What has it taught you?
To remain humble, understand what the mission vision is, right? And the mission is to empower owner operators. Vision is to create legacy, not just to work every day, because we work really hard. Everybody works really hard, and sometimes we don't understand how to get out of the work and focus on growing it, right? So many times we just don't know how to, and many times it's because we don't trust. At least in my community, we got this thing we call familianismo, where we're very hesitant, we feel marginalized, and I want to remove that roadblock, because that's no longer the case right now. With the ability to reach into social media like we are today, right,
Hmm.
these mega resources that we have, we need to be able to utilize them the right way to create an impact, right? Whether that's just in your business or in a community, whatever the case may be, but understand all the tools that you have at your disposal. And we want to bring that to them to the forefront so they can start taking advantage of that and understanding how best to implement them. Because you could, almost all these small businesses are family owned, they're
Yep.
small, right? So, okay, well, the younger generation is all about technology. Well, then we got an opportunity here. A couple cameras, phone cameras, some speakers. You know what? Social media is real.
Hmm.
Utilize it. Don't be a consumer, be a producer. Get your business out there, target it, run some campaigns, but it takes education. So putting those people in the right room with the right people, that's how we're going to grow.
I love that, and in construction, I think more than in other industries, it's very, I wouldn't say individualistic, but it's really focused on, okay, well, I have to get every client. I have to, sell every job. Nobody can help me. Nobody, can jump in. And I love that you're really kind of turning the industry on its head. To me, it's a very innovative idea. So, what made you want to kind of build this community and kind of, go in the status quo and say, no, we're better together?
I will say that many times working in the commercial industry, I've seen several opportunities missed by smaller companies because they don't go after relationship building, or what we call in construction business development, or they don't understand how to go about that. And B is actually getting out there and making it happen. They feel that, okay, well, that's not for me, that's bigger than me. And
Hmm.
that's not the case. If you focus on relationship building based on your hard work and your reputation as a contractor, those doors open immediately. What's holding us back, holding those folks back, is the fact that they feel, and it shouldn't be left to a feeling. We should just get after it. So we are putting that in front of them. We're opening those doors for them, right? So if they feel comfortable enough to working with us, Aldo Ocampo, Mano Mano Hands of the Valley, and then through our growing partnership through eHub Latino, Chicanos por la Causa, and the Alchemist Group, they're going to have all of those resources at their disposal. They just have to take initiative. They have to go out and get it. And I was there where I didn't either. So now I know we got to go out there. There's opportunity, and many times we're overlooked because we're not going out there to get it. Let's execute. Let's You're doing a great job. Partner up, get out there and get it.
I love that. I think obviously as a power connector, I think we're all better together. And finding those opportunities where it may be unlikely. Obviously you can think of a GC, partnering with a roofer, but you wouldn't necessarily think maybe a GC partnering with a dumpster rental company and having that be a great partnership. I think it's about having those conversations, finding those opportunities, and like Aldo said, going for it and having that conversation and looking up for your business about who else is around. I love that you're doing that, especially for the Hispanic community, because I feel like, they don't necessarily, they have their family units and they're incredibly strong, but they're not talking about their businesses and sharing what they're doing. And they're doing incredible things. So I love that, in, AO Pathways and in, Mano a Mano, in both ways, you are empowering others. It's a great thing that you're doing. So, from your experience before to now, did you ever think that you would be a leader in the Hispanic community and doing these great things?
Um, I will say, and I have to be completely honest and transparent. I always thought I could do more. What that was, I had no idea. Had no idea. And a good friend was on a podcast. I have a podcast called Full Kit No Plan that I host with a military buddy out from Maine, Jesse. What's up, bro?
Yeah.
We had the mayor, what one of our brothers from the Brotherhood, Dom, calls the mayor, Mr. Dave Walter, and
Hmm.
he's a Air Force veteran, and he was talking about his ministry, right, and how
Yep.
his networking group is his ministry, and that really stuck. And I was like, man, Mano Mano's my ministry. This is how I help. This is how I give back. This is how I'm able to support my community, support my people, and just in general the ecosystem, right? To grow and be positive. So I took that to heart. I listened to that podcast and I still repeat it sometimes, and it's true. Um, no, I did not see myself as a leader in this aspect. I always just knew I could do more, but that really solidified it. And again, it was in a conversation one on one. It was willing to listen to someone else, and that really hit me. This is my ministry, and this is how I'm going to support and help and give back.
I love that. And again, another, example of you talking to others and hearing what they're doing and then being inspired. I think, not saying it's the, number one thing that Hispanic men are known for, but, what I'll say is, kudos to you for going and listening and seeing how you can, take those nuggets of wisdom and put them in your life. So, obviously, AO Pathways, Mano a Mano, you're doing great things. So let's talk about how to contact you, how to reach out, how to work with you. So on AO Pathway, how do somebody work with?
Yeah, so reach out to aopathway.com. Hit the link there to set up an appointment with me. You can also go to handsofthevalley.com for the Mano a Mano networking group. There's ways to reach out. There's you can see events coming up, other ways to collaborate, but go ahead and go to handsofthevalley.com. You could also reach me at IG, Instagram at aldo.ocampo.official. And same thing with Facebook. YouTube for Full Kit No Plan. You'll see that. Hit the like and subscribe as well.
Yep, always got to hype up the other podcasts and that whole bit. So you're doing amazing things. Although it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. The thing that I like to end with is if you could bibbity boppity boop so that everybody could learn something from you and your experience, what would you like to share?
Don't be scared. Take a risk. The biggest risk in life is not taking one. And held myself back by fear and unwillingness to take risks. And you know what? As long as you do things with the right attitude and everything being positive, everything works out. But you got to go out and get it. Don't be scared and take the leap.
I love that. And definitely say it louder for the people in the back. And me, my younger self, all those years ago, I think that's great advice. And definitely applaud that and agree wholeheartedly. So, Aldo, thank you so much for being on the show today to share your experience, to show how leadership has changed you and how your outreach into construction in the Hispanic community has led to amazing things.
Muchas gracias.
De
Ahí nos
nada.
vemos, mi gente.
Awesome. So, again, this is Nicole Banks with Nicole's Business Notebook, where we're bringing together leaders, power players, and all around great people to the greater Phoenix Valley and beyond so that we can all learn how we can collaborate to not be scared and do better business together. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.